Hello and welcome to yet another Grumpy's Rehab facility video. So this happened.
So at this point, I'm going to have to do what's called the little station keeping here because chat is glomming onto your comment about Pyro and how you're not working on Pyro right now.
And this was my initial reaction during the stream. Wait, they actually said that they're not working on Pyro? Fucking amazing.
Server meshing needs prerequisites like persistent entity streaming.
Also, modularity. The same people that are supposed to work on modularity are working on server meshing. And server meshing is not being worked on because they're working on PS. And PS was not being worked on for 11 years because we had iCache, Pcache, and all of that shit. So it's all logical, guys. Like, just buy an interest and it's all good. You're gonna get a game at one point, maybe.
Game development is...
Sorry, Jared, but how many things did we guess in the past fucking year? We got a patch. So fucking, what is this shit? Oh, I'm angry now, dude. I'm fucking angry now. Dude, my brain is gonna fucking fall out, honestly. But let's see what is actually happening here. So let's talk about it after the intro.
Hello, my name is Grumpy.
So first of all, before we start, I need to show you something. And that something is the reason why people are angry at CEG at this point. And they have all the rights to be angry because they were, or CEG was, hyping up Pyro for 2 years now. First of all, they showed us a stealth mission on Pyro in CitizenCon 2021. And then throughout whole year of 2022, they were just hyping Pyro like this.
And 196 overlay variations necessary to place them throughout the existing Stanton and upcoming Pyro star system.
So I have Pyro 1 open already. So now we're on Pyro 3. Now we're on Pyro 4, which is my personal favorite of the Pyro system. This one is Pyro 5C. Similar to Pyro 4, you can see that it has a landmark that you can see from space.
With so much of the focus on the upcoming Pyro these days, let's check in with the EU Sandbox team and their continuing work fleshing out the derelict outposts to be found on the surface of Pyro's planets and moons, are also exploring new gameplay opportunities out in the farthest reaches of the upcoming Pyro system. The upcoming Pyro system is intended to be rich with a history more violent and conflicted than the Stanton system you're already familiar with.
Traveling through space looks to get just a little more involved and potentially a lot more dangerous as we continue along with our path to Pyro.
Moving higher up and much farther out, let's check in with some Pyro system, let's call it Spacebox for lack of a better term, development. One of the big questions that came forward, everybody knows that we're heading towards Pyro this year. That's the focus of many teams throughout Star Citizen and the different studios. Unicaller says, stop saying Road to Pyro. No, we're on the road to Pyro. That's where the majority of our focus for the Persistent Universe team is working towards right now. The team is also exploring early advanced traversal opportunities for some of the outlaw space stations currently being built for the Pyro system. Now, October, there's a month, and it was perhaps the biggest month and the biggest year of Star Citizen yet, beginning with the return of CitizenCon in digital-only form. It was a day packed with exciting looks at the upcoming Pyro system, including new AI systems utilizing new planetary nav mesh, bringing new life and possibility to the new planets and moons of Star Citizen's persistent universe.
So should I show you more? Because there is more, but this is just like what I found in like half hour. Yeah, I think that the backers have more than enough rights to be angry because of this change or shift or whatever. But maybe nothing actually changed. And let's watch the full clip and try to analyze it part by part. And we're gonna try to understand what's happening behind the closed doors because they're not gonna tell us. Maybe they're gonna have like a letter of the chairman, or they're gonna say something on Spectrum that's maybe gonna put out the fire for a second. But you know that like those flames are gonna be as violent as and as angry in a few months from now anyways. So let's watch the whole clip and I'm gonna try to like cut it where I can see a talking point and yeah, we're gonna analyze it together.
Are there going to be more of the derelict locations added to Stanton, or is it mainly Pyro that the work is going into?
Right now, we're thinking about making more on Stanton, because Pyro is not really yet ready yet to create too much stuff on it. So yeah, I will say that, but eventually we're going to have a lot of them.
Pyro. It should.
Right now?
Yeah. Well, not
Eventually.
No, not
yeah.
right now, but soon. Yeah. For the next year, will be more Stanton, but eventually we'll be everywhere.
I mean, I can give you the scoop that we're starting to look at that in Q1.
Yeah.
Now, the main talking point here, and a thing that everybody heard, is that the next year is going to be, like, their focus is going to be on Stanton and not on Pyro. Now, there could be a few reasons why that is happening. First of all, the most apparent reason would be because Pyro is not going to be released next year, therefore we're not going to get a server meshing, etc. next year, so they're not going to work on Pyro. But there could be another reason behind all of this. So I might turn into White Knight here, or I might be like sniffing some copium and all of that, but just hear me out. So the planets in Star Citizen are procedurally generated, and with procedural generation, whenever you make a change in the seed or the code of the planet, or like, for example, if the planet grows, if you had any assets on that planet, those assets are still going to be in the same coordinates. So if the planet changes, like a hill goes like 1,000 meters to the right or whatever, or the whole planet just grows, those assets are going to be buried like below the ground, and that's not good. So there's no point in working or placing assets on a planet that is not finished. And one more reason why you don't want to work on the planets or just like place assets on the planets is because like those are done by the artists or like game devs, yes, but also the art team, and they decide where the assets are gonna go. So once they have a final view of like how this planet is gonna look like, then they're gonna pinpoint a few locations where they want to have those assets, like a landing zone or a point of interest, etc, etc. Because the Planet Tech team is constantly adding new tech to the Planet Tech, right? And at one point, maybe like, what if, for example, they placed a bunch of assets right now, like landing zones or points of interest, or like derelict spaceships or derelict outposts and stuff like that, and then the Planet Tech team gets there, and maybe the planet did not grow, like the hills didn't change, but then they added, like the Planet Tech team would add maybe rivers, and then you have a river that's going through a bunker or is going through a point of interest. That's not good. So they would need to finish all the planets before adding any assets to them. So my guess is that they're waiting on Chris Roberts or the Planet Tech team or whoever, or the marketing team for that matter, to tell them if they're happy or not with the Planet Tech, like what Planet Tech did, and with the planets in Pyro, and then they're gonna like have assets on them, and then they're gonna work on the assets that are gonna be on top of them. But of course, why the fuck did they hype a Pyro, and why did they show us so many assets on Pyro, and like how they're working on Pyro, and how those assets are gonna be used, and how we're gonna have stealth missions on Pyro, etc, etc. Like, why did they do that if we're not even close to having Pyro? And as I've said in my stream, like for Pyro you need server meshing, but for server meshing you need PES, but for PES you needed to have Pcache and then iCache, and those are not working. So yeah, they just figured out that they need to make PES, and maybe that one is not going to work. So why would they work on server meshing? Like, we don't even know if they're currently working on server meshing at all. Maybe they're going to work on it after PES gets released, and maybe they're going to work on it throughout the whole next year. We have no idea, but what we do know is that Chris Roberts last year, or this year, actually it's still 2022, so I'm gonna say like April 2022, he dropped a letter of the chairman, and he said the 318 is gonna go into the PTU in June or July, I think it was June, and it's gonna be in the PTU for a couple of months, and then we're gonna get it in the PU. And like, it's December, that's why I'm like, I'm already at 2023, but my mind is already at 2023, but it is December of 2022, and we still do not have the like 318 patch in the PTU. We got a single patch during the whole year, and in this show, like just a second later, when like the chat fucking blew up and people got angry, Jared was talking about how they gotta work on what they have right now. You're gonna see it in a second, how they gotta work on what they have right now, because yeah, we have Stanton, Pyro is not finished, so we're gonna deliver a ton of things to Stanton. And we had a singular patch during the whole year, and we were all just holding on to the fantasy that Pyro will come soon to the PU. And yeah, we were just waiting for the PES so they can like greenlight it, and then they can work on server meshing so we can get Pyro. But that never happened. Like 3.18 didn't drop for the whole year. We had a single patch which brought us nothing. But them saying that we're gonna see more progress because they're working on Squad of 42, like we can see that it's all bullshit, because as I've said, we got a single patch the whole fucking year. So we were just holding on to that like copium fantasy that we had, that like we're gonna get Pyro by the end of the year, or maybe next year, or 2023, and like that's gonna give us the Jesus patch that we're all basically waiting for, that is gonna open the floodgates, and we're gonna see more content pouring into like Star Citizen and all of that. That all just fell to the sea like castles made of sand, like immediately when we saw this. So like whatever the wording behind this, whatever the issue is in development, whatever, like maybe I'm wrong, maybe Planetech did their job, and maybe there's something else that's like keeping them from getting more assets on top of the planets. Maybe we already have a bunch of assets, maybe Pyro is just waiting, but still the guy said like throughout the whole next year they're gonna focus on Stanton. So yeah, whatever it is, we're still not gonna get Pyro next year, right?
For the next year will be more Stanton.
And this statement here is the main issue. But let's continue.
So at this point, I'm going to have to do what's called a little station keeping here, because chat is glomming onto your comment about Pyro and how you're not working on Pyro right now. So I'm going to do some station keeping here. For folks who maybe don't follow the entire breadth of Star Citizen's development, Pyro can't be added to the Precision universe until server meshing is in. Server meshing needs prerequisites like persistent entity streaming coming in 3.18, and these things all take several months and months to do.
The only thing that I can say here is that yes, Pyro is waiting on server meshing, and server meshing is waiting on Pyro. But also modularity is waiting on server meshing, because the same people are like that are working on server meshing are supposed to work on modularity. So why did you sell a modular ship? Why are you like telling us that modularity is gonna be a thing since 2014? And like I'm like, here's the list of the ships that should be modular, and you can just Google them, and yeah, you're gonna see that they were supposed to be modular. But like what I'm aiming here at is that they're just lying. Honestly, they're just lying. They are lying to our faces for years now, and we are okay with it. Obviously, we are okay with it. We spent $100 million just this year on this game. We funded the game. We funded the shit out of the game just for a single patch, and we're basically happy with it. And that's the issue. Because why would they change? Like, they're gonna continue being like this as long as we act like this. Like we have got a single patch throughout the whole year, and we have spent $100 million. Like, that's the main issue here. Now, I was thinking maybe I should play the video, but yeah, I'm just gonna play the video of John Cruz saying that we're not getting modularity because the team is working on server meshing.
So we know what's necessary. We know what's involved in making it happen. It's just it requires a pretty sizable chunk of time and resources in order.
Yeah, it's a lot of low-level engineering people, and the people that are best suited to doing it, unfortunately, the people that are looking at server meshing, because they're ironically the people that made the object containers and a lot of the original pipe system code.
And now in every other Star Citizen Live, they mention Pyro, and they say that like they can't work on that because the team is working on Pyro. And now we can see that they're not working on Pyro. Like Planet's tech team is obviously working on Pyro, but the other teams are not. So what are they working on? The answer is Squadron 42. All the money that we're giving them is going into that game and not into Star Citizen. So erase whatever excuse you heard from them, because all of them are blatant lies, because they're like all the money and all the effort is going into that game and not into Star Citizen. And that's the issue. But let's continue.
Stanton's not finished. I saw somebody say Stanton is finished, and I think Stanton's not finished. We're still building Stanton. We're still building Pyro. We're still building Nix, stuff like this. But it's not a thing where you just, it goes akin to what John Cruz said. John Cruz said had a line in our IAE All Ships Super Talk Spectacular from a couple weeks ago that was also taken out of context, where, actually it wasn't John Cruz, it was Ben Curtis, where they talked about where's the best place to put your work and your effort right now. And it is, the question comes if you can work right now to put something in the game right now, that's a better use than if you can work to put something in the game 6 months from now, because you can work next month to put the thing in 6 months from now. So game development is a constant series of priority shiftings and adjustments, and that I'm sure I'm not revealing any secrets to anybody who talks about Star Citizen and who shares in the content creation of Star Citizen. They will know that the priorities change and shift dramatically during the course of development.
And yeah, we can see that right here, like here. So 3.16 released 23rd of December 2021, and then 29th of April we got 3.17. And we're still waiting on 3.18. Yeah, we can see that.
But it always prioritizes what can be done now and what can be done next and stuff like that. So as we move closer to the time where it's like, okay, now the underlying systems are in place and we can actually put Pyro into the persistent universe, that's where the ramp up on that stuff goes. That's why when you looked at, we had presentations with Pyro during DCC, he talked about how Pyro is basically like 80% complete. They bring the planets to that 80% and then they stop, they pause, because there's no need to finish it off now when the technology will continue to grow and continue to evolve. When it's ready to go in, that's when they will finish it off and polish it up with the technology and the tools and the procedures that are available to us then.
But then again, the question is, why are you working on Pyro and why are you hyping it up for the last year and maybe even more than a year? I mean, I know when Pyro was announced, I know when server meshing was announced, like, I don't know, 2018, like it was the first time that they were talking about server meshing and all that. But the issue is they were hyping Pyro like it's gonna happen anytime soon, and like all their efforts went into Pyro and not into Stanton. And we got some things into, like in Stanton, I'm not gonna lie, we got some things, but not nearly enough, especially this year and like with a single patch, but not nearly enough to confirm what he just said just now. So yeah, all that I can say from all of this and what I can take from all of this is that Pyro is not close to being done, and that whatever the issue is, it doesn't really fucking matter. Honestly, it does not matter. Like, I'm done with their excuses. I'm honestly done. I know that people see me as a overly negative person, etc. I mean, I love this game. I want this game to be the best game ever. I want to play this game for fucking years and make videos on it. And like, that's why I'm playing it. Even though I don't like it right now, I'm playing it on stream, and you can join my streams. Like, we have a lot of fun there, and that's basically the only reason why I'm playing that game, because of you guys. But like, is it gonna continue to be like that for the next year? That's the issue. Like, I made a video of like why the next year could be the most crucial year in Star Citizen's development, in the most definitive year, because we're gonna see what server meshing is gonna do and what we're gonna get with server meshing, and if the pipeline and the floodgates are gonna open and we're gonna get more content pouring in. But I like with this, I guess that most of us can see that that's not going to happen next year. Maybe late next year. I'm still trying to be optimistic, but honestly, probably 2024. And I don't want to end the video like at this fucking depressed state. So, dogs and cats, and cute dogs and cute cats, and yay. So you're not depressed anymore. So Anyway, thank you for watching, and thank you to all my patrons for supporting the channel. If you want to support the channel, there's gonna be a link down in the info section of the video. You can support me on Patreon because, like, yeah, there's a lot of monthly expenses just to cover to make these videos, just like for the channel to grow, basically. And if you don't want to support me on Patreon, if you want to get something in return, I have this, and this is my merch, and like I'm always adding new merch and new stuff to the store. A bunch of customers are already customers. I don't know, people that bought my merch are already really happy. They're saying that the quality is amazing. I still didn't get my shipment. It's still coming, and I got all the merch for myself so I can test it out and see if I did something wrong. But yeah, people are enjoying it. So if you want to support me and get something in return, I think that like buying my merch is the best way. So thank you for watching, and don't forget to bring a towel when you're traveling through space, because you might need it, because Pyro is not gonna happen anytime soon. And yeah, cats and dogs. Bye.